right, so here is Nyla's field trip to Home Depot. We got our booties on, we got our vest on. I have her on a shorter slip leash and then a traffic handle, so that way it's about 2.5, maybe 3 feet of space. The first half of this video, I have her just on my hand. Second half of the video, I have her on a belt leash, where we're working on basically like hands-free. She did really well, especially for loud cart noises. We've ran into some balloons, people just loving on her of like, oh, she's so pretty and look at the booties, you know, those type of comments. Honestly, she did really well for handling an environment that we hadn't been to together. So I don't know if you had been going to Home Depot before we started this, but I left some of the sound on so you can kind of hear the noise and distractions. And me working with her on this. So for the most part, in regards to her leash and her focusing on the leash, I'm not doing a ton of tension. And honestly, she's not really getting to the end of this leash. If she does, she honestly autocorrects faster than I do. She knows her expectation of walking right next to me. Now, her scanning the environment like this is something that every day we're going to be starting to do more and more and more public access. But I'm okay with some awareness and some checking things out, but the almost kind of frantic energy that you see sometimes, especially when we turn corners and she's like, I gotta look at everything, that we have to chill out. That is, nope, we have to leave it. Let's keep going. But we paused before we walked through the big aisleway. But overall, like for her first public access with me, pretty fantastic. Out of a scale of 1 to 5, I would say I'd give it a solid 3. Like truly and honestly, a solid 3. Because she handled the amount of distractions really well. So I'm going to hop off for just a second, and then I'll hop back on when we get into the belt leash section. And if there's any little tidbits on, then I will say, hey, this is the thing that we're working on, or this is what we would want differently. But otherwise, you get to see her work and how she did. Okay, right here, there's going to be a dude that's talking to us and gets a little close. You can see her like, I'm not okay with this. This is what we have to work on. So this can be a blocking behavior where she knows, hey, stay away from my person. She settles pretty quickly right here, especially with all the people. But that gentleman really kind of startled her, which, to be fair, he was creeping on our space, which it made me a little uncomfortable. So that response, that's something that we'll work on. Nyla? Okay, so here is where I adjust the camera. So I apologize if it gets a little wonky here for a second. So basically I have a tripod. So it starts off as a stick that I can hold, and then I can pop it out as a tripod in just a second. I know. And then I was holding her off to the side. So this was right by the front door, and it had an alarm going off, and she was a little nervous about it. So I was like, sweet, we're going to take this as an opportunity. So you can see right there, she's like, I want to sit, but I really don't like these booties. Like she's, ugh. So that's where I asked for a touch instead. We've been practicing with just the front feet or just with the back feet. This is the first time that we've had all 4 feet in booties. I think if we had none of the booties on, she would have sat, not a problem. So this is, again, one of those learning curves of, I know you can do this, but we've added a stimulus. We've added something to you to where I can understand why you don't want to do it. This is where I stuck her on that belt leash, and I'm just asking her to hang out with me. So we're watching people go past. You can literally watch her look at. She checks in, whether it's me calling her name or I ask for a touch command where she nose bumps me. I reward it, and yep, we're just watching the world go past. Now, ideally in a situation, and this is what we're working on, is where we would do a center command or we would do a sit on your foot command if you're getting overwhelmed, and she can help you redirect. Also, she's more focused on the handler versus the world around us. But she redirects beautifully. Like that, phenomenal. Especially with the alarm going off and people, I was not expecting to get it that well. It usually takes a couple tries and a couple trips to get comfortable with this, and she was just like, okay. Still on alert, but not panting, not shaking, things along those lines. And this is where we pick back up and start walking again. And notice how she is scanning, but she is a lot calmer. Now there was 2 little boys that she's definitely interested in. I had to tell her, hey, I need you to leave it for a second. So that's me showing you, hey, I have her on a belt leash. She's attached to me. So this is now just my body giving her corrections. My hand isn't doing the correcting. So when it's in your hand, we do more micro corrections. So it's a lot faster and a little bit more tug and release. This is more neutrality of, no, I need you to self-regulate this capacity. She did phenomenal. Truly and honestly, she did phenomenal with belt leash. We've been doing a ton at the facility. And so we've been doing a ton on our early morning walks. But this is where rubber hits the road and sweet, let's go. Now, the flowers, that's one of the reasons why I like doing Home Depot, especially with a big garden center, is there is so many smells. And you can see her like, wait a second. And then she's like, ooh, water patch, let me sniff it. So this is where we work on leave it. And this is where, hey, I got to have your nose up and I need you to focus with me. She's focusing, not nervous, but focusing on the things around me versus checking in. And that's where I paused her and I had butterfingers. She dropped the treat. This is where I am asking her to pay attention to me versus the things around us. As we grow in our environments, this is where we build that focus. But great first public access trip.